I am 33 years old and my wife is 32. Life before all this was simply blissful. It was just the two of us living in a cozy home nestled in the heart of Georgia. We decided early on in our marriage that kids were not part of our plan. Hard work was our creed, and we routinely put in grueling 70-hour work weeks. It may sound rough, but believe me, it was worth it. When you're in the groove, it doesn't feel like hard work. In fact, we loved every bit of it and poured in all the blood, sweat, and tears to ensure that my better half could live comfortably. That's what you do when you're in love, right? However, things were not all about work. Our off time was filled with laughter and the occasional getaway. Our favorite spot was a quaint cabin nestled in the mountains of Georgia. The cabin provided the perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of life. That was the life I was living. Or at least what I thought we were both living. It wasn't all roses and rainbows. We had our fair share of squabbles and disagreements, but who doesn't? I figured that was just part and parcel of any relationship. But what I didn't realize was that my relationship with my wife was about to take a horrible turn. My lucky life was about to take one heck of a U-turn over time as I began to notice changes. They were subtle at first, so I didn't think much of it, given my busy work life. I figured it was just stress playing tricks on me, as everyone goes through rough patches, right? Coming home after long, grueling shifts, I started to find the house emptier than usual. She'd be out a lot more often, coming home late with excuses. Oh, how wrong I was to assume that everything was fine. There were plenty of changes. Suddenly, she was going out with her girlfriends more often, attending all these so-called networking events. It wasn't just the late nights that caught my attention. I started finding strange numbers on our phone bills. When confronted, there was always some seemingly innocent explanation. An old friend she reconnected with or a colleague from work. It raised my eyebrows, but I tried to ignore it. After all, she was my better half, wasn't she? Looking back, it's funny how you can gloss over things that should be obvious. I guess that's what trust does to you. I was too busy trusting and working myself to the bone that I missed the warnings. My gut was telling me that something was wrong, but my heart didn't want to listen. And then, one day, the bomb dropped. It wasn't a shock, more like an icy shiver running down my spine. I never thought in a million years that I'd be in this position. I remember that fateful day like it was yesterday. The knock on the door wasn't anything out of the ordinary. I expected it to be the mailman or a neighbor looking for a borrowed tool. But standing there with this woman, her demeanor solemn and an uneasy expression on her face, the badge on her belt and uniform, it was clear she was a cop. A strange mix of fear and curiosity took over me. As soon as I saw the cop at my door, my mind began racing. What was a cop doing here? Thoughts of recent burglaries or accidents involving someone I knew crossed my mind. I invited her in, offered her a seat, and waited for her to explain. I couldn't miss the tension in the room. She took a deep breath and began talking. The words she said next hit harder than thunder in clear weather, according to her. It turned out that she was a fellow victim, her husband being one of the men my wife was involved with. Talk about a kick to the shins. The cop had hired a private investigator to catch her unfaithful husband, and that's how she stumbled upon the whole sordid affair. There was evidence, all right. Pictures, text messages, you name it. The evidence not only implicated her husband, but painted my wife in a whole new light. To be specific, my life had become one of infidelity. The initial surprise gave way to a painful acknowledgement of reality. It appeared that my doubts were valid, and my idyllic existence crumbled in mere moments. In the aftermath of this revelation, my life took a significant turn. It was difficult to regard her in the same light. Aware of the truth, but I had to maintain a stoic expression. I had to be thoughtful in my approach to the situation if I were to manage it effectively. My profession had instilled in me the ability to remain composed in stressful situations. Whenever she arrived home late or I heard the notification sound from her phone, my stomach would churn. Despite this, I bided my time, waiting for the appropriate moment to broach the subject. One evening, I calmly confronted her during dinner. Her response did not shock me. It was almost as if she had anticipated my inquiry. She showed no signs of contrition. There were no tears, no admission of wrongdoing. Instead, she delivered the most crushing blow of all. She revealed that she was carrying a child, and that the baby was not mine. Although I felt a sense of disappointment, I was mostly numb. This was not the woman I had fallen in love with. The woman I had married had disappeared. In that moment, I knew that I could no longer live in this facade. It was time to stand up for my self-respect and my sanity. I knew what I had to do next. I needed to seek legal assistance and initiate divorce proceedings. Following our confrontation, there was no turning back. I contacted a reputable attorney who I had known for years. I explained the situation in detail, withholding nothing. The lawyer attentively listened, taking notes as the meeting concluded. He provided me with assurance that he would handle everything in a reliable and trustworthy manner. The lawyer assured me that the evidence was in my favor and the law would support my case. The infidelity, pregnancy, and other actions of my wife would be significant factors in the divorce proceedings. The process was excruciatingly painful. It felt as though the life we had built together, the home we had shared, was being dismantled piece by piece. Every document signed and every meeting with the lawyer brought me closer to freedom. It was a step towards liberation from the lie my marriage had become. Despite her own wrongdoing, she did not handle the proceedings well. She was livid and played the victim, attempting to paint me as the villain. She claimed that my long work hours had driven her to infidelity. However, I knew better and refused to let her false accusations obscure the truth. I was determined to fight back and defend my reputation. The courtroom felt like a battlefield. Every word spoken and action taken had to be strategic. Every move in the courtroom held weight. As anticipated, her lawyer attempted to portray me as neglectful of her needs, using this to justify her infidelity. My lawyer proved to be exceptional. He presented every piece of evidence, including the detailed report from the police officer that contradicted her claims. He spoke on my behalf, highlighting the long work hours that supported her lifestyle and the life we had created together. Seeing her in court, pregnant with another man's child, was surreal. The woman sitting across the room was a stranger to me, not the person I had vowed to spend my life with. She sat there attempting to portray herself as the victim, but the evidence was overwhelmingly against her. The day of the verdict arrived sooner than I had anticipated. As the judge read out his decision, time seemed to stand still. The courtroom was silent, and every ear hung on the judge's words. As expected, her claims for alimony were presented with great enthusiasm. The law was explicit. In Georgia, infidelity can heavily impact the result of a divorce case. The judge denied her request for alimony, citing her affair as the primary reason for the end of our marriage. The ramifications of her actions were finally sinking in. The judge made it clear that she would not get off easily, nor would she live off my hard work while enjoying the company of other men. We were instructed to divide our shared assets, but fortunately we didn't own much jointly. The distribution was equitable, and the divorce was finalized, closing an 11-year chapter of our lives. Exiting the courthouse, a weight was lifted from my shoulders. After the divorce, life took on a new color. I concentrated on myself, mending the shattered fragments. I channeled my energy into work, not as a means of escape, but to advance. I established a daily routine, and each accomplished task propelled me forward. Friends who were previously uninvolved now provided their support. I had overlooked the satisfaction of small pleasures like shared meals and casual gatherings. Life was distinct without her. A sensation of liberation washed over me. I no longer had to fret about returning home to a stranger, no more falsehoods, and no more treachery. During the tranquil moments, I pondered her and speculated if she ever regretted her decisions. However, That was her expedition to navigate. Mine was to move forward and glean from the past, and that's precisely what I intended to do. Life after divorce wasn't all dismal and bleak. It was an opportunity for a fresh start, an occasion to reconstruct my life on my own terms, a chance to redefine my personal priorities, ambitions, and desires. It was a period of expansion and self-exploration. With newfound vigor and concentration, my career began to flourish. The countless hours devoted to work were at last yielding fruit. One promotion led to another, and before I realized it, I was leading a team and making decisions. This had an impact on the company's trajectory. While my professional life was prospering, my personal life, too, started to take a positive turn. I began dating again. Initially, it was daunting, but with each date, it became less of an obligation and more of a thrill. I met some marvelous individuals and some bizarre ones, let me tell you. And through them, I discovered more about myself than ever before. In the meantime, updates about her were sparse. I heard she had given birth and the child's father, ex-husband a policeman, was taking accountability. It was a little painful, but I refused to allow it to overshadow my new life. The cop who divulged the information, the same one who hired the private investigator, also divorced her husband and emerged victorious in court. She was able to keep the house, receive $2,000 per month in alimony, and retain one of the cars they owned together. With time, I learned to relinquish my bitterness and accept the past. A life full of possibilities was waiting, and I refused to let the specter of a failed marriage hinder me from living it. It has been several years since the divorce, and life has taken on a new normalcy. Each day feels like a new beginning, a chance to relish and acknowledge the splendor of life. The resentment and agony of the past have diminished. They are now merely distant recollections. Professionally, things couldn't be better. I accomplished one of my long-standing aspirations and became one of the top executives at the company. The strenuous work hours remained the same, but it was no longer a burden. It had transformed into a labor of love. A new routine emerged, which encompassed work, personal health, socializing, and learning new things. Friends and hobbies began to occupy my spare time, and life once again felt complete. Although the past occasionally resurfaced, its influence over my emotions was waning. Rather than causing anguish, it served as a reminder of my resilience and how much I have progressed. Over the past few years, there has been an abundance of healing, personal development, and comprehension. The person standing here today is not the same person who confronted that devastating blow all those years ago. It's a new and improved individual, molded by experiences and motivated by the prospect of a brighter tomorrow. Life is replete with highs and lows. It's this journey of emotions and experiences that shapes us into the individuals we ultimately become. Therefore, instead of fixating on the past, I resolve to embrace the present and look forward to the future. The past will always be a part of the story, but it won't dictate the narrative.